Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am Kelly Bowen, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Hey guys, this is Emma Romano, and I'm one half of Inspired Conversations. Kelly is literally days before Christmas, and Kelly is so busy. And we've thought that we would start interviewing and having other people on the show. And I might cry, but I don't know why I'm going to cry. Dan, oh my God, so emotional. This is Dan Candell. Dan Candell is a world-known hypnotherapist that really delves deep into the world of anxiety. He's known as the anxiety, the anxiety fucker-offerer is what I like to call.
Anxiety relief guy. I don't give it to you, I take it away. But I can give you anxiety if you want.
No, he's the fucker-offerer of it, right? So if you've got anxiety, Dan fucks it off. So he is the anxiety relief guy. He is amazing. He teaches modalities. He has a huge presence and audience in this world, and he's the go-to guy. Dan has been beautiful enough to say, yes, Emma, I will jump on here and let's chat. So Dan and I met in 2019. And Dan's one of those people where you can just sit and meet him and you just speak really deeply with. We're not very good at bullshit talk. We're very good at
This is true. This is true.
Right? Yeah, deep stuff. So Dan, you are my first person I'm interviewing.
I'm so glad I'm your first. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, me too. It's a really big deal for me and for you to say yes. And this is huge.
Well, this is huge because also you said you don't really interview men, and I'm your first guy.
You're my first.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm a lot of people, this is crazy. I know I'm a woman, but I'm a massive advocate for men. And I feel men are getting a bad rap because the women are coming into their power. And what I don't love about it, I love women coming to their power, but I don't see why women can come in their power, but then they have to push the men down. I am not about that. I'm about the word and. Women have your power and men have your power. I'm not about one or the other. So that's why. And I'm also a mother of two amazing young men. And that's probably another reason why I'm such an advocate for men as well. So,
and Emma, I had the privilege of going to Australia with Emma, and we had dinner with her family and at her house, and Emma opened her life to us, and she also opened me up to the life of carbonara. And every single time I eat carbonara, I think of Emma Romano because she put this song in my head that she made up that goes carbonara, and
carbonara.
That's exactly what it is, and I sing that song every time I go to a restaurant and get carbonara, and my friends look at me, they're like, are you daft? Are you okay? Is everything okay at home in your head? Do you need help?
I have to tell everyone the carbonara song, right? So I make the best carbonara. It's a pasta dish with, bacon and cheese and all sorts of stuff in it. And my boys love it. And I'm always singing and I make up tunes and I just do it to annoy the shit out of my kids, right? Because, I'm a mum, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'll sit there and I'll put a little message on their phone. I'll go, guess what we're having tonight? And they go, oh, fuck, here we go. And I'm carbonara, I'll a carbonara, and I just keep going.
And that's what you did when we went out to dinner and we got carbonara. That's what you did the entire time. And it is now always burned in my mind. Like I think you hypnotized me to I think that's like an anchor for me.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
And I have to turn my fan on. It's so hot here. It's really, hang on. Got it. So, Dan, this is an open forum, and we're not here to talk about hypnosis. But
awesome.
When I met you, you were in a very long relationship with a guy.
Yes.
And it wasn't fabulous.
Right. And so we were in a relationship for 10 years, and you know how you either grow together or you grow apart.
Yeah.
I always tell people I own it too. I said we kind of grew apart. And what happens, it's almost like going home for the holidays and you've changed, but nobody else has. And they're used to the old you, and they're used to the you from a long time ago. And I remember my ex, his name was also Dan. And I gotta say, I don't have anything, but I'm not going to say anything bad about him because I don't have anything bad to say about him.
Yeah.
We grew apart, and things became normal in our relationship that really shouldn't become normal in relationships. And after, I would say, 2020, I had just got home from Australia, and the world was apparently ending. And I had recognized I was very, very depressed, and I didn't know why. And to say I was in a dark place was an understatement. Like, I was so depressed, I would wake up crying and I didn't know why. I would drive to my office and I didn't know why. The only time I really felt good was when I was traveling. So that told me, Dan, you're probably avoiding something. So long story short, I'm the guy that has horrible timing. And on our 10-year anniversary dinner, we're out to dinner, and Dan, he notices something's going on with me. And I never ask like what's wrong. I always ask what's going on. So I ask people to ask me the same thing. Like, nothing's ever wrong there, but something's going on. So he asked me, he's like, like, what's going on? And I'm like, nothing. I just went to the dentist. Like, it's fine. I just kind of brushed it off. And then he kept poking a little bit. And I said, all right, you know what? I'm not happy. I haven't been happy for a long time. I don't know what to do about it. And we both just cried. And it was a very, very difficult end of a 10-year relationship that went on for months. We had tried to fix things. We went to a therapist, and it didn't work out. But you know what, Emma? I moved out in October of 2021. November of 2021. And we were the token gay couple next door. We had the huge house. We had the picket fence. We had the dog. We had the cats. We were just always known as Dan and Dan.
Yeah.
But what happened when I moved out, I never could have anticipated. Things blew up for me in a really amazing, like, cosmic way. And I started to get bored because I was, now like a bachelor and I was getting bored. So I'm not, I'm not one to go, I'm not like a serial dater. So instead of going out and doing that destructive thing and going out and like getting drunk every night and blah, 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 I put full attention and full energy into making videos and documenting things and just having open conversations just like this with people. And a lot of them started going viral. And some of these videos started getting millions of views. At the same time, I hired a marketing team, and my marketing team really like blew shit up. And then I became known worldwide as the anxiety relief guy. And now I have spoken to companies and given presentations to companies like Amazon, Dell Technologies. I travel all over the place. I teach, I train. And it was just, it was so weird how all this like clicked into place as soon as he and I kind of moved on.
And also, I mean, back when I knew you, when you were with Dan, that's when I met you.
Yes.
And
yep.
both you and I were in a place very similar, as in, I mean, I wasn't not happy with Anthony. I was not happy with me.
Yes.
And I was 20
ditto.
kilos heavier. I was an alcoholic.
Yep.
You know, I was running from myself instead of running towards my beautiful man. I was kind of running away from everything, making myself exceptionally busy, like literally working 12 to sometimes 16-hour days.
Yep.
And you and I went through this similar thing, but you know, like different circumstances, but we actually let go of a lot of low energy, stuck shit
Yep.
at the same time. And then everything changed for us in such a beautiful, glorious way.
It did. It totally transformed.
Same timing, same time.
I noticed that we were both going, because we would send each other voice memos back and forth on Facebook Messenger, because we're like 14-hour or 16-hour difference.
Yeah.
And so we would send each other voice memos. And I remember you sending some to me, I sending some to you. And I noticed you going through this transformation, and you and I both went through this like health transformation.
Yeah.
I hired a personal trainer. I let go of 30 pounds as well. Never been healthier. Prior to that, the doctors thought I had leukemia because my blood markers were off, and I had to go to the oncologist, and thank God I didn't have leukemia. Yeah. But that was like another thing that kind of led to that transformational moment, is walking into the oncologist's office by myself and having to deal with that by myself. And it was a very eye-opening, painful thing. But Emma, like, so much has happened. I met a beautiful guy that you described him.
He's
oh my God,
so fucking hot. Like, I haven't described him as, but he's so hot.
You described him as sex on legs. That's
sex on legs.
And he is gorgeous. He's Venezuelan, and he has a beautiful family. His mom is 50. She looks like she's 20. And like, it is just, he has a beautiful family, and we're in a very happy relationship. And then my dad got sick, and so I just lost my dad a few months ago.
Yeah. Sorry.
And thank you. And he was my.
Explain to people, what was your relationship like with your dad before he passed?
My dad was my best friend. He was my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. Emma, we'd go to funerals, and we'd be walking down the procession line. He'd be handing out my business card to everybody at the funerals. Like, that's.
I love it. And can I just interrupt? This is what I know about Dan. Dan started at the age of 14 as a stage hypnotherapist, sorry.
Yeah.
And his mum and dad would be driving him all over the bloody place at the age of 14 to do these hypnosis shows.
Yep.
So, and you know, and he's this gay guy in his community, and they were always just like, fucking love me, kid.
Yeah, they do. Yep, absolutely. My parents, they're my biggest fan. My dad, he would travel with me. He'd go places with me. He'd go on tour. Like, when I do local tours, he'd go on tour with me. He'd video record my show. He'd help me in whatever way I needed help.
So beautiful.
So when he got sick, I stopped my whole life, and I took care of him a lot. And I was with him for about a year, nonstop. And I stopped traveling. I stopped taking opportunities. but it also was an opportunity for me to change my business structure so I could still be with him and still do some work. So I transitioned from seeing people one-on-one to mainly a group model of working with people. And the group model that I do is, I just love it. I have two groups. One is a self-help group, a general self-help group, and we have over 250 people from around the world that are in my group every month. And then I have more of a niche group with that's about anxiety for professionals, and that's a more of a niche group. And so I would have never developed that if it wasn't for taking care of my dad. And at the end of my dad's life, he decided to go, for the last 4 days of his life, he decided to go into a hospice facility, which was a beautiful facility that he went to. We thought he would be there for about 4 to 6 weeks. He was there for 4 days and passed. But you know what, Emma? He's still here. Like this son of a bitch. I'm like,
yeah,
like, Dad.
oh, yeah. He's got such a beautiful, strong presence. Like he's like,
oh,
and you know what gets me? This is when people think people die. They're like, oh, they're not here. No, they're everywhere. And they've got a better seat. You got to understand when someone passes, you know, like me and you, Dan, we can see each other on Zoom.
Right.
If I pass right now, I can pop to you right now. I can pop to my son. I can pop to that person, It's an instant thought. They got a better seat. And this is what we got to understand, you know, energy. Everything is energy. Nothing leaves unless you want it to.
Right. And my dad, he Emma, things have gone flying across the room. Lights blink and flash on and off when we're talking about him. And then I went to a medium with a couple of my friends, and she's really well known from around here in the States. And so I went to a medium, and there were about 65 people in this group. And it was like the last 3 minutes of she called it a show, like the last 3 minutes of the show. And she just stops and she's like, all right, everybody, I'm kind of winding down, so I'm going to end. And she just looks at me. She goes, wait a minute. And she goes, your dad just died. I said, yeah, he did. And she goes, that's a beautiful necklace. And I was wearing a necklace that he gave me right before he died. She goes, is that your dad's necklace? I said, yeah, it is. And she goes, was he ripping butts? I said, yeah. I said, he was a heavy smoker. She said, and he died of like lung cancer or heart stuff, like something in the chest. Lung cancer. And she said, do you help people? I said, yeah, I help people. She's like, your dad, he just won't stop talking about you. She's like, he just won't, like, how proud you are. And she's like, what's with the distance? Did you guys have a distant relationship? And I didn't get it at the time. I said, no, we were very close. And she goes, he keeps showing me distance. And it's because I was always on the fucking road. Like,
yeah, you were always on tour.
Yeah, I was always on tour. So I would always be on a plane. And I was supposed to be in Vegas the day my dad died. Yeah. And I canceled the trip, and he so badly wanted me to go. He so desperately wanted me to go. And we had the conversation, no, it's not right for me to go. I want to be here with you. And I said, I want to, because Emma, and you've heard me say this before, I'm a really big fan of this. Have to, choose to, get to.
Yes.
And we all have to.
Say that again.
Things that we feel.
Say that again for our listeners.
Yeah. So keep this in mind. We have 3 levels: have to, choose to, get to. And the reason why so many people are so damn anxious is because they, in their mind, they have to. They're always in the have to mode. And then when we all have tos, we all have obligations. But when we can get out of the constant have to mode, we can move to choose to. Where, okay, I'm taking this on because I choose to. I know I don't have to. And that's some of the clients I work with. I'm like, I don't take on people, Emma, that I have to work with. Like, I don't feel like I have to work with people. And after we move through choose to, where I get to, and that's where we live a beautiful, fulfilled life. And that's where I was with my dad. And that's where I am with my partner, with my boyfriend. And that's where I am with my I'm not even going to call my job. I feel like I'm fucking retired. Like,
call it. Isn't it the worst thing? Because job, like I hate saying I'm going to work because people think it's work. Or like when you work on your relationship, I work on my relationship all the time, but it's not work to me. What's a good word for it? Have you got one?
I have no idea. Like I'm going to passionate people. Like, I don't know. But I say I'm going to work with people. That's what I say. I'm going to work with people.
Yeah.
But you get to this place of like of get to, and want to is part of that. Like, I feel like the bridge between choose to and get to, the bridge between that is want to. And this is where like beautifulness happens. And it's like, so does that mean like I get to sit and play video games every day when no, that's not what that means, because at least for me, but it's doing things that are fulfilling you and that are just feeding your soul. And that's why spending time with my dad, and spending time with my partner, and spending time with my clients and my groups, Emma, these are things I honestly feel like I get to do because I love to do them.
And this is the difference. So Dan and I are both therapists, right? We both use hypnosis. We use a whole lot of different modalities, NLP, whatever. We use everything, right?
Energy healing, voodoo,
everything.
yeah.
Energy, we put the lot. We don't use just one modality. And this is the difference of why Dan's and my business is so successful and worldwide. Like when I started, I was earning about 20,000 Australian dollars a year. Now I'm on $1 million. And I don't say that to go, oh, I'm on $1 million. I want everyone to be there if you want to be there.
Right.
And that's the thing right now, it's not about the money, it's about your lifestyle. People go, oh, but, aren't you busy? No, I'm not. I'm actually not a busy person because I choose not to be. I choose to be smarter about my time. This morning, I'm walking for 2 hours with my son, Ben, and the Teddy, my dog, for 2 hours in bushland. When I first started this, I thought you had to work 14 hours a day. That was success. Right. So not true. And I love that your dad gave you that opportunity when you were looking after him for that year, that you went, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I can't sustain earning money and working 14 hours. That means I don't get to be with my dad for his last year.
Right.
I have to.
Emma, you know what? I mean, I work now a lot less than I've worked, and I make 10 times more now.
Same.
Working 10 times less than when I was working 10 times more, making less. And there's a switch. And I find that a lot of people, they either don't know to make this switch or they don't want to. And that is going from the practitioner mindset to the CEO mindset.
Yeah.
And something clicked in me it was right before my dad passed. And then I got so much clarity on this after he passed. It's almost like he was right there with like a garden hose and blowing all this clarity into me. And going from the practitioner mindset to the CEO mindset, it's not always an easy transition to make, but it's mainly because of the way that we're thinking about things. And Emma, exactly what you said, 100% true. A lot of people think, oh, if we're going to break the $1 million mark or the $3 million mark or the $10 million mark, it means we're going to have to work a lot harder. And it doesn't. We have to work different.
Yes, it's so true.
Some people, though, don't want to work in that way. They don't want to work that different. And that's okay.
Do you know what screams to me, like, especially having a chat in the last, 20, 25 minutes we've been talking, is there's one word that describes you all-encompassing, and you are an adapter.
Thank you. Thank you.
You change, adapt. And this, I feel, the biggest problem in society now is nobody wants to adapt.
Right.
They're so goddamn fucking entitled that they think everyone should adapt to their way.
Yep.
gotta stop, get off that bandwagon. You know, it's so egotistical, and we have to go do something different. It's in relationships too. Like when Dan was with his ex-boyfriend, Dan, for 10 years, Anthony and I weren't so great either. On the outside, we looked fabulous. But you know what? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I was faking sex with this guy. I'm like, I don't want to be one of those wives who goes, they just have sex on a birthday. So I'm having sex with this guy, but I'm not emotionally involved in that time. And Anthony felt it. So what do you think that does to a man?
Yeah.
You know, it was killing him. And I'm like,
it's that connection.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of Anthony, I'm like, I have to adapt here. I have to look at what the fuck's going on for me. And that's when I made a decision. And I love that. Have to, choose to, get to. I didn't have to be in this relationship with Anthony. I chose to be in the relationship with Anthony. And then Anthony and I did a lot of work together. We chose to. We didn't have to. We chose to. And now we fucking get to do it.
You do. Yeah. I love that. I mean?
I just spent a month with this man in Egypt, Jordan, Israel. It's the longest we've ever been together because I had my boys before I met Anthony. So we didn't have that period where we got to know each other, just the two of us. We're doing it now, right? So we've been together for 30 days, nonstop, 24 hours. We got to do a lot of work, build up, mentoring with other, people to make sure that these 30 days was going to be fucking amazing.
Right.
No, you don't just get therapy when you're broken. Get therapy when you go, I get to have therapy, not when I have to have therapy.
Exactly. And those are the people that, and I know those are the people you work with. Those are the people I work with as well. The people that are like, I feel like I get to be here. And yes, sometimes it does start as a choice, right? And it's like, I choose to be here. But when we're working with people in a have to state of mind, if they're in a have to state of mind, or if we are a have to state of mind, it's usually not going to be a match. And it can go with a client practitioner relationship. It can be, in a friendship. It can be in a personal relationship, a romantic relationship. It can be in a business partnership. If one person is at a have to, or you're both at a have to, that's where it's just a surface. It's just surface level.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out a better way to say this, but
I love that we're talking about it, because I'm like the relationship queen, right? And it's also, I look back at probably when, you and I were at our biggest at the same time. And for me to go to the gym, I had to, because I was fat.
Right.
And I didn't go. It was such a struggle. And then when I chose me, it was so, like, literally those pounds for me fell off me.
Yep.
And then when I get to go to Pilates, I get to eat vegan. I choose to be vegan. I get to eat quality organic food. I get to do it. It's like a treat to me instead of I have to eat this.
And look at where the switch is with the energy, where when you say, oh my gosh, I have to go to the gym today. And then you switch that and say, wait, I want to go to the gym today, or I get to go to the gym today. So one of the things I have my clients do, if they're struggling with things, or they're struggling with like a poverty of time, I have them write down all the things they tell themselves they can't do. I can't respond to my emails all the time. I can't have dinner with my kids. I can't go to the gym. I can't take time for myself. I can't read my book. And I say, okay, so those are all the things that you can't do. Now, right next to all those things, I choose not to. I choose not to have dinner with my kids.
Love that.
I choose not to go to the gym. I choose not to get back to my everybody in email. And that you see this overwhelming look of like shit on people's face.
Yeah. I love that, Dan. Can I steal that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You totally can.
Thanks.
And I do this in a lot of my workshops, and there's just this like pivotal moment where people are, they look like a deer in headlights. They're like, no, I really want to have dinner with my children. And I'm like, So it instantly changes the energy there. And it's an amazing pivotal moment for people when they realize, oh my gosh, I do have a choice with this. But in order to choose and then get to, you have to let some things go, don't we?
Yes. And it's
we have to let some things go.
Yeah, it's that real negative energy. So for me, I mean, I've been 3 years sober now. I stopped in 2019.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2019 stopped, and since, I've lost 20 kilos, I've made a lot of money, but it's more about the relationship I have with self and the relationship I have with God or spirit or energy or source, whatever anybody wants to call it. And the relationship I have with my husband and my children, like I see their divine masculine in them. I used to only see where they were lacking for me. I used to see everything as, you're lacking in that for me. I need you to be something different to fulfill me. It is, you have to be this for me to feel better today. It's bullshit. And the minute you get rid of that low frequency and know that you are the creator of your own life. No one creates it for you, not the government, not religion, not your mom and dad. You create it. You have a choice whether to think shit or you have a choice whether to think fucking awesome. It is a choice. And then you get into that pattern, into that habit, because you have to create better habits. And then it just becomes, I get to feel this and I get to feel that.
And we're not saying to the people listening, to your listeners, Emma, we're not saying that we ship butterflies, rainbows, and unicorns every day. Like we still have challenges, right?
Yeah, definitely.
People sometimes think they're like, oh, you guys must live perfect, beautiful little lives, like in the corner of wherever you are. Yeah, okay. No, we still experience challenges. And the thing is, sometimes the more successful you are, the more challenges you have, or I'm not going to call them challenges, but they're challenges, but you handle them differently, and they're on a total different level too, and they challenge you to be better and to solve problems. And I remember when my business really went up, I was getting so much criticism, and I still do. I get a lot of hate, a lot of criticism for the things that I do. And I think I'm the most hated hypnotist amongst some people. Because someone messaged me the other day and said, you are a daft, see you next Tuesday. I'll say it because profanity alert. And I know this word is like hugely used in Australia. I think this was actually
the same word. It's not in America, by the way.
No.
I think I said it to Dan, and he's like, what? Did you just say that?
Well, the person who said this, I think, was from Australia, so that makes it even more perfect. He said,
tell me this, I'll go straight punch him.
He's like, I should give you the list of people. No, he's like,
you're all over it.
He said, you're a daft cunt. You should go kill yourself. And then people call me all the time like a scam artist, this and that. And you know what? It's because I'm putting myself out there and I'm exposing a part of myself to help other people. And not everybody sees it that way, and that's okay. But when I first started opening myself up to that, and I first put my programs out there and I started getting some criticism about it, it crushed me, Emma. I just gotten out of that relationship and then gotten into a new one, and I was feeling really good. And then it was just like this wave. And I'm like, okay, how? But I approached it from a mental health perspective. I'm like, how do we solve this problem? Like, there's a problem. How do we solve this problem? And I started thinking about other people who have personal and professional development programs on a really wide scale who might get the same thing. And I'm like, what would they do? They would hire somebody to deal with that. They wouldn't they would remove themselves from that. So that's what I did. I hired a person specifically to comb through and filter out the hate. And I said to her, and now she works with me. She's been working with me for 2 years. I love her. She's my virtual assistant. She's in the Philippines. Her name is Sabrina. Sabrina is lovely. She could run my business with both hands tied behind her back and her eyes closed.
I love that.
I love her. And she takes care of things. She just takes care of things. And now I'm hiring a couple other people in my business now. And I've gotten to the level where I'm hiring other people and I'm supporting other people. And it's not just me, it's like building the fan base and building the followers and everything like that allows you to help those other people. And my assistant, she says, Dan, she's like, you're working for you. It allowed me to finish going to college. It allowed me to plan for a wedding, it allowed me to save for down payment on a house. And these are the things I'm like, these are the things that the people that leave those other types of comments, these are the things they don't see. And sometimes, Emma, people forget we're real people helping real people.
100%.
And that's what we do.
And you know, I've got to tell you, universal law, if anybody's listening to out there and they want to manifest or they want abundance, you have to use the laws of the universe, universal laws. One of the biggest universal laws is the law of opportunity. So what I love that Dan's done, he's got all these dickheads, right, going, you're a fucking idiot, Dan. He's gone, right, what can I do? He's given somebody an opportunity to have wealth by fixing that problem.
Right.
What most people will do is this, I'm out.
Yeah, they give up. They run away.
I'm out. So they stop the opportunity. This is why, Dan, you will manifest very quickly, is because you open, it's one of the universal laws, the laws of opportunity. So it's like me, when I first started this business, I didn't have anyone working for me because, oh no, I'll do that. I'll do the calls. I'll be my accountant. I'll be this, I'll be that, because I may not be able to afford it. I've just gone against the law of opportunity. The minute I started asking people, can you help me? And paying for people's and I pay very well. You know, I kind of, if like I've got a cleaner, the cleaner asks for $25. I'm like, no, I'll pay you $50 an hour, because it means I don't have to mop my floors or clean a toilet, which means I get to hang out with Jack and Ben.
I'm the same way. Yep.
I pay double. You know, my PA, it's like $20 out. I'm like, fuck no, I'm paying you $40 an hour. Because do you know what you're doing for my nervous system?
Right.
Thank you. So it's a law of opportunity. And this is where it's called supply and demand. So it all just comes in more and more and more. I love it. So you're an adapter. I love it.
I love the word adapter. I love the word adapter. And that's exactly what I look at other people who are successful, and that's what they do too. You know, things come by and they say, okay, how can I solve this problem? And so many people, Emma, like you said, they expect other people to adapt to them.
Yes.
But one of the most useful things, or one of the most helpful things that someone said to me when my dad passed was, and it was Scott Sandland. Scott Sandland he is a very good friend of mine. He's the creator of HypnoThoughts. He's like the CEO of HypnoThoughts. And Scott reached out to me and he said, just want to offer you a couple of things. Number one, you're going through grief. You suck at this. He said, you suck at grief because you don't do it very often. Because why should you? He said, so admit you suck at grief. Another thing he said that was really, really helpful to me was, your emotions right now, they're like a washing machine and they're on spin cycle. And some might come out at different times when you least expect them to. Some might come out dry, some might come out wet. And one other thing that I believe Michael DeShalit said to me was, hey, with your clients, you meet them where they're at. It's now time for you to meet yourself where you're at.
Oh,
and
God, I love him.
We've got to do that, because what happens is so many times we forget to meet ourselves where we are at. And if we don't, then we expect other people to meet us where we're at, but we have to meet where we are first before we expect other people to. We have to really meet ourselves where we're at. And that's where I felt guilty for a little while, or I felt ashamed that I was feeling grief or experiencing grief, Emma, because I'm like, I help people with this every single fucking day. Why am I losing my shit? And it's because I forgot to meet myself where I was at.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love that you're talking about, that the biggest issue with relationships, with any kind of relationship, three things come into where they break down or where we don't feel good. One is shame. Two is trauma. We'll sit in a trauma response, which, you got the death of your dad, you're sitting in a trauma response, and then shame comes up that, one, I feel shame around how I'm feeling about my dad, my best friend, my biggest champion in the world passing, and we feel shame around it. And then it's an agreement. So an agreement is kind of like a belief, like, oh, I've made an agreement to be a therapist, so I'm supposed to have all my shit together. And when I don't, what's going to happen? Trauma and shame. Right. And that's when we go into a spiral.
And it happened.
Yes. Yes, it did happen. And you know what? All those therapists out there, this is the most beautiful opportunity. Never beat yourself up for going and spiraling, because what it is, it's an opportunity in 6 months or a year's time to come on a podcast and talk about it.
Right. I love that.
And it's an opportunity to say to your clients or to people out there, go, I get you. It humbles us. You're like, we're no better than anybody else. We're just adapters.
Right. And there's one more little adage that I came up with, and it's feel, deal, heal. And I remind myself of this all the time, because when our emotions bubble up, they're there for a reason, and we've got to feel our feels, right? We got to experience our emotions, and then we got to deal with them, meaning we have to process them. And sometimes we just feel our emotions and we forget to process them. We forget to deal through them, and then we don't heal. And it's just this cycle of feel and move on, feel and move on, feel and move on. But we've really got to process those emotions, and that's when true healing takes place. Feel, deal, heal. And it's it can be a little bit of a process sometimes. Sometimes it can be like a light switch where you have an epiphany and you're like, holy crap, this is where this comes from. You pay attention to it and you're like, okay, this is why I can, or give yourself some time. So look, I know that, and it's just like a relationship. When a 10-year relationship ended, the last thing I wanted to do, they say a good way to get over someone is to get under someone. No, that was the last thing I wanted to do. Yeah. Look, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, at least you can be the hoe, right? So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So
I'm so proud of you not to slut it out, babe.
No, that's not me. I downloaded Grindr, the gay hookup app.
Yeah.
And I put on there, like, I'm only here for the stories. And stories did I get. Let me tell you, I had one guy who said, come and F my colostomy bag. And I'm like, no. And then sent me a picture. I'm like, no. I'm like, is that even possible? Like, can that happen?
Oh my God. Ew.
Yeah, I have so many stories. I turned it into a comedy routine. And so when I do stand-up comedy,
I'm such a visual person. I'm visualizing somebody fucking a colostomy bag right now.
Hey, some people.
I can't understand.
Some people, some of your listeners might like that. I mean.
Oh my God, I really can't unsee it.
Right, you can't. When we're off air, I'll show you the picture that he sent me, so that way you don't.
Yeah, I will have to have yes. I'll have to come and see you with the client just to get that out of my brain. Guys, I just want to say, Dan, can you just say your email and everything, how people can find you, please, my love?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to me, the best place to start is going to my website, which is dancandell.com, dancandell.com. You can also find me on the socials. I'm on TikTok as Anxiety Relief Guy. I have over 250,000 followers, and that's Anxiety Relief Guy over on TikTok. I'm on Instagram as Dan Candell. I have, I think, 18,000 followers over there. YouTube me, Dan Candell. I have a podcast. It's called The Anxiety Relief Revolution. But if you go to my website, all that stuff is there. dancandell.com. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Easy.
Do you know what? Just following Dan, guys, you're just going to get so much gold. And all we say is this: always have an open mind.
Right.
So the people that are shitting on Dan, people who shit on anyone, it's a closed mindset.
Right, exactly. And Emma, I post so much free shit. Like I post so much stuff for free. You do too. I see you all the time going live and stuff.
I'm doing a whole 1 hour manifestation free Zoom tonight for an hour.
Right. And that's what, and you know what? That it's like you said, it's the law of the universe, give, and part of it is giving.
Yeah.
And I don't give with the expectation to receive back. Mm-hmm. I give and give and give. And I know that people who that's all they need. That's all they need. I know some people need more. Some people want more, But there's something that I say I don't know if we're at the end yet, but there's something I say at the end of every interview.
3 minutes, my darling.
Okay. All right. So I'm a big fan of catchphrases. And I for a long time was like trying to refine my catchphrase. And then I was thinking, like, what do you help people do? What do you do? And so from that, I came up with my catchphrase, which I'll share at the very end. Yet there, Emma, what you said in the beginning, and I just want to bring it full circle. You said, what we do, we don't just use one modality. We use what's going to work. Yeah. And it's so important to have an open mind, not just for the client, but also for the practitioner, because you have to be open to what works. And I just started opening myself up to learning more about energy psychology, psychosensory therapy, and incorporating that into my process. And since I have, oh my God, like just the results people get, it's like miraculous how these things just kind of clear. And it's like putting the windshield wipers on, like it just clears all the stuff away. And when you can learn how to do that in whatever way you can, I'm not saying that you have to work with me or you have to work with Emma, although it would be nice. No, but I'm not saying you have to. I'm
definitely saying work with me and work with Dan. Fuck yes, definitely work with us, because our process is freaking work.
And Emma, you know what? You do the Freedom Family Protocol that you developed, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Like that's what I see all the time. Like I want to take your class because I love learning, and I see the stuff that you do.
Not you should. You can choose to. You get to. Fuck yeah.
I get to. When I was on tour in Nashville, I stopped in California and I took a 4-day trauma release class because I got to, and I got to be there. And it was after I left, I signed up 3 clients in this trauma relief process. It has nothing to do with hypnosis, but it's pretty cool. But and because you get to, right?
I get to.
So yeah. So people listening, ask what that level is for you. What is your get to level? Because you have to be aware of it in order for you to get there. So what's your get to level? And when you're aware of it, then it'll be easier for you to get to it, because you'll put into your awareness exactly what you need to get there.
Guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to Dan. Dan's going to do his catchphrase, but before he does, I just want to say, Kelly and I, we don't get sponsored for these. We are number 70 in the world. We want to make it bigger. We had our biggest thing for 2023 is reach and expansion. And we just want to help people. That's all we want to do. So please help us help people. So please share, tag, comment. You'll see us. We are all over the place. Spotify, YouTube, we're all the things. inspired conversations on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. We're everywhere. So Dan, thank you, my love. I love you.
I love you, Emma.
What's it?
All right, are we ready? All right, here we go. Be well, do good, be true to who you are, and happy healing.